Alright guys, today's essential question is how do we add and subtract rational expressions? And today we're going to be looking at problems where they do not have a common denominator. So let's take a look at this first problem. Let's say I want you to subtract 5 over 6x minus 2 over 3. Notice they do not have the same common denominator. So the first thing I'm going to do is try and get a CD, or common denominator, between 6x and 3. Well, I need a number that both 6 and 3 can go into, so that would be 6. And notice that the first denominator has an x, the other one doesn't, so in order for them to be common, I'm going to say it's 6x. Notice that this is also the least common multiple between 6x and 3. So my new denominator is going to be 6x. Notice in the old fraction that these are exactly the same, 6x and 6x. So inherently it's like you're multiplying this by 1, so you can multiply the numerator by 1 also, so it still remains 5. But in the second fraction, 3 times 2x gives me 6x, so I'm going to multiply the numerator by 2x also, so that gives me 4x. And so now that they have the same denominator, I can subtract these or combine them together and get 5 minus 4x over 6x. Notice though that I can't subtract 5 and 4 because they're not like terms. Also, I can't cross out the x's. You can't do that. You can only cross out factors, and you haven't factored anything, so that's my final answer. Alright, for the second one, my common denominator between 4x and 12x would be 12x. In the first fraction, 4x times 3 gives me 12x, so 5 times 3 would be 15. 12x times 1 is 12x, so 7 times 1 is 7. Now that they have the same denominator, I can add them together and get 15 plus 7 over 12x, which would be 22 over 12x. I can break 22 into 2 times 11 and 12 into 2 times 6. The 2's would cross out since they're factored, and I'd have 11 over 6x. Alright, for the next one, I notice that I have an x minus 5 and an x minus 7, so the common denominator would be x minus 5, x minus 7, x minus 5, x minus 7. In the first fraction, I notice that in order to get x minus 5, x minus 7, I'd have to multiply this by x minus 7, so I'm going to multiply the numerator times x minus 7. To get the second one, I'd have to multiply by x minus 5 in the denominator, so I'll multiply by x minus 5 in the numerator, so that would be 3 times x minus 5. I'm going to go ahead and distribute, and so I'll get 2x minus 14 over x minus 5, x minus 7, plus I'm going to go and distribute here and get 3x minus 15 over x minus 5, x minus 7. Now that they have the same denominator, I can combine them into one fraction. So I'll have 2x minus 14 plus 3x minus 15. Combine like terms, 2x plus 3x is 5x. Negative 14, negative 15 is negative 29. So that gives me my answer of 5x minus 29 over x minus 5 times x minus 7. Okay, for the last one, notice that I have 6x minus 7 over x squared plus 6x plus 5 plus x minus 2 over x plus 5. Notice that this is a trinomial, and I can factor this. 2 and 3. 2 and 3 doesn't give me 6, so I'm going to have to use 2 other factors. Let's try 5 and 1. Same sign, both of them are positive, so this is going to factor into x plus 5, x plus 1. The reason why I had to factor that was to help me see what my least common denominator is going to be. It's going to be x plus 5 times x plus 1. So in the first fraction, I notice that they are identical in the denominator, so it's like you're multiplying by 1, so you can just multiply the numerator by 1, so that's just going to give me 6x plus 7. But in the second one, I notice that I'd have to multiply the denominator by x plus 1, so multiply the top one by x plus 1. I can FOIL the numerator out, so that'll give me x squared plus 1x minus 2x minus 2. Now that they have the same denominator, I can combine these into one fraction over that common denominator. And so in the numerator, I'm going to get x squared, 6x plus 1x is 7x minus 2x is 5x, negative 7 minus 2 is negative 9. And so that will factor into my answer, x squared plus 5x minus 9 over x plus 5 times x plus 1. All right, that's it for today's lesson.